Real YouTubers make paella, but when they are making delicious paella, they forget that there is a step where you have to add some vegetable broth because the paella is vegetarian. And when you are making the vegetable broth, you forget to turn the broth down from boil to simmer, and so when it's time to add the broth to paella, a lot has evaporated, and that made the paella's flavor less strong. Based on a true story. What's going on? Okay, I wrote some things down for myself, but I realized that I didn't show them to you because they're on that part of my screen. Fixing the levels of the volume because that doesn't look right. Okay, fixing the levels. Okay, so, two things. One, I keep forgetting to mention this, but we hit 200,000 subscribers. First of all, thank you. I think we already talked about this in a previous video, but I just wanted to say I am working on the Draco-ish cosplay. I will let you know when it's done. You will know when it's done, believe me. But yeah, people keep asking about it in the comments. I haven't forgotten. It's a work in progress, don't worry. And the second thing is, okay, so let's talk about the content of today's video. We are ranking the legendary Pokemon. However, if you are not super familiar with VGC, you might be surprised to see that certain Pokemon are missing from this list. The reason that certain Pokemon are missing is that they are technically mythical Pokemon. Mythical Pokemon is a separate classification within legendary Pokemon, and I think I'll do a separate one on that. A separate video on that. The reason is that for these legendary Pokemon, I think we're gonna want another tier, by the way. I think we're gonna want an E tier. Below. No, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. Dang it. For mythical Pokemon, they're not VGC legal. So these are Pokemon like Deoxys. These are Pokemon like Keldeo. Yeah, certain other Pokemon as well. They're not VGC legal. Meloetta, Zeraora, all these, Diancie, there's lots of Pokemon, and they're just not allowed in VGC. And so I felt like that would be a different, interesting topic, ranking these Pokemon, these mythical Pokemon, based on how good they would be if they were ever legal. However, for this video, we're only ranking the ones that are legal or have been legal at some point in VGC, with some exceptions, like Eternatus, for example, has never been legal because it just hasn't been used yet, but it most likely will be legal, I think, because it's not a mythical. So, yeah, so that's why we're ranking these. Additionally, there's two classifications to me within legendary Pokemon. There's just, and this is more VGC specific, I would say. There's certain Pokemon that are considered restricted Pokemon. For example, Azelf is not a restricted Pokemon, but Kyogre is. The way that I'm going to be ranking these is based on how good the Pokemon is in their respective format, not necessarily based on how good they are compared to each other. So, for example, like, Ho-Oh might be a lower tier than Entei because when Ho-Oh is legal, Pokemon like Kyogre and Groudon, etc. are also legal. So yeah, that's kind of the way I intend to do this. Just wanted to let you know so that everyone's on the same page. Also, this is for doubles. I always forget to mention it in tier list videos because I thought it was obvious, but yeah, this is for doubles. I don't know that much about singles, and I don't feel comfortable ranking these Pokemon based on their singles placements. However, since I'm a VGC player, I'm going to rank these in VGC mindset. Anyway, first up, we have Articuno. We're just going to go alphabetically because that's how I sorted them, which is fine. We have Articuno first. Articuno, Ice Flying type, pretty bad defensively, 4 times weak to Rock. Yeah, definitely not great. It has some things it can do. It gets Tailwind. However, you'd be pretty... The weaknesses to Electric, Fire, and Rock are all pretty bad. And although Ice is a good offensive type, yeah, like, the weaknesses are just don't, like, allow for it. And although it has good bulk, like, the weaknesses kind of offset it a little bit. So I think Articuno is a D tier Pokemon. It's not the worst. So, like, if you were playing random battles, you got an Articuno, like, it's not necessarily terrible. And it gets Hurricane as well. However, yeah, it's not great, to be honest. Next up, we have Azelf. So I think Azelf was actually used somewhat in maybe 2010, back when Explosion was still strong. Maybe 2009 and 2008 as well. I didn't play back then, so I'm not sure. Hasn't really seen much play since then. Azelf is a really fast and frail, just kind of like Glass Cannon, but the issue with it is that it doesn't hit very hard at all. It has good coverage moves, it gets good special moves, and physical moves can run physical or special, like I said. It was a lot stronger when Explosion was really strong, back before Explosion got nerfed. Yeah, back then I think it was actually pretty good, because it was, you know, actually a legitimate threat, but since then it's really fallen off. I think it's maybe C tier, maybe D tier. I'm going to say C tier for Azelf. Like, it's definitely better than Articuno, like, but it's definitely not good. I think, as usual, B and above are going to be good, and C and below are going to be bad. That's kind of how I'm thinking of this. Next up, we have Cobalion. So Cobalion has cool typing with Steel and Fighting. Steel hitting Fairy-type Pokemon that the Fighting type is not especially strong against. Fighting hitting the Steel-type Pokemon that Steel is not good against. So the typing is actually really interesting. Steel and Fighting is not bad at all. And Steel and Fighting somewhat complement each other. Like, it removes Fairy's weakness for Fighting types, and it also removes the Flying weakness of Fighting types as well. So, yeah, and it removes the Psychic weakness as well. So, yeah, Cobalion, I think its only 3 weaknesses are Fighting, Ground, and Fire. So it basically removes all of Fighting's weaknesses. However, it really lacks the offensive stats. The speed stat is good. It's above base 100, which is good. It's like 107 stat, I think, or 108. But the fact of the matter is that it lacks the offensive pressure to do much. Even if you beat up against, like, with it, it still wouldn't do very much damage, to be completely honest. And it's not really worth it. Maybe Cobalion will be better now that it can Dynamax. However, because it's a Fighting type, like, it doesn't even get a power increase in its max moves when it Dynamaxes. And also, it has very bad coverage moves, in my opinion, at least. I think it has, like, its move pool is really, really limited. So despite being a really bulky Pokemon, I think it's probably a D tier Pokemon. Yeah, you know what? Actually, no. It's like, it has so much going for it, but it's just not good enough, in my opinion. Come on, stop. Okay, cool. Next up, we have Cosmoem. This is Big Nebby. It doesn't do anything. It's very bad, in my opinion. At least it's super, super bad. I think it only gets Splash. Yeah, I literally think it's the only thing it gets. But it's very heavy. I think it's 999 kilograms. Okay, moving on. We don't have anything to say about this. Cresselia is an interesting Pokemon. I would have put Cresselia at S tier a couple years ago. Cresselia's fallen off a bit, although, like, basically with the introduction of Landorus Therian for me, that was one thing that hurt it because of U-turn, and also with the spike in Incineroar in Pokemon like Aegislash in 2015 and somewhat 2018, and then like Incineroar in 2018. Cresselia's fallen off a bit, in my opinion. It used to be, like, so good, and now it's definitely fallen off. So I think it's an A tier Pokemon. Feels a little weird not putting it in S. Yeah, but I think in recent years, like, it's just kind of, like I said, fallen off a little bit. It's still a great Pokemon by every definition. However, yeah, it's not as dominant as it once was. I'm ranking these as if they were legal today. So, yeah, like, as if we were playing a format where Cresselia was legal. It would definitely be good in, like, the current format. However, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if it would be used over Dusclops, honestly. That's actually kind of funny. I mean, people might honestly run Dusclops instead of Cresselia in this format, which is kind of wild, but yeah. Anyway, moving on, we have Dialga. So Dialga is our first restricted Pokemon. It is not the same as, and I'll tell you when it's restricted Pokemon. So it's like Dialga, Groudon, Ho-Oh, Kyogre, Curums, etc. But yeah, I'll tell you. So Dialga is our first restricted Pokemon. It has some success. I won a regional with it back in 2016. It didn't have a ton of success after that, I think. It's got good defensive typing in Steel and Dragon. And very good bulk. And the offenses aren't terrible either. It mostly struggles because it exists in a format with Primal Groudon, and Groudon is very good against Dialga, to say the least, and Dialga can't really do that much back. However, Dialga is really good against Pokemon like Kyogre, and, oh, it's okay versus Kyogre, still takes a ton from Water Spout, and good against Rayquaza as well. I think it's probably a B tier Pokemon. Like, if you have a restricted Pokemon, you choose Dialga. It might not be optimal, but it's not terrible either. Yeah, it's, like, overall a solid Pokemon. Next up, we have Entei. So Entei is interesting. It's relatively fast. Similar to Cobalion, it doesn't have amazing coverage options. However, what it does have is Sacred Fire. Sacred Fire is a very, very powerful move. It's a Fire-type move that has a 50% chance of burning. A burn from, obviously burn is one of the best status conditions, so Entei is one of the, it's one of the few Pokemon that can somewhat safely, fire off damage and also burn. Like, most of the time, people would run Will-O-Wisp to burn, which is, 85% chance to burn and does no damage, whereas with Entei, you get a 50% chance to burn and a powerful move as well, and you don't have to run a move slot. Entei has some use back in 2015. People would run it with Sub, or you could run Choice Band. No, people didn't really run Choice Band. You could run Goggles. It gets Snarl, which is actually a good support move. Overall, I think it's a solid Pokemon. I think it's a B tier Pokemon. Feels weird that Cresselia is only 1 tier above Entei and Dialga, though, but yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I don't know. Entei is overall a solid Pokemon. Normally it runs Snarl, Sacred Fire, Stone Edge. I think it could run Sub. It could run. It might get Extreme Speed, though I'm actually not sure. Yeah. Next up, we have Eternatus. So I don't actually know anything about this thing except that it can't really Dynamax as far as I'm aware. Very weird Pokemon. I have no idea. I'm going to add another tier. Question marks. Yeah, I have literally no idea. I think it's fair just to tell you guys that and not, like, pretend like I know. Because I don't. I don't know anything about Eternatus. I don't know if it's going to be good or not. I don't know its stats. I don't know if it actually can't Dynamax. I don't even know if it'll be legal. Yeah. That would be a restricted Pokemon. That's our second, in theory, restricted Pokemon, but I don't know anything about it at all. I don't know if it's physical or special. I know it gets Dynamax Cannon. But yeah, okay, that's it. Next up, we have Dratnia. Dratnia is not very good, to be honest. It's probably a D tier Pokemon, realistically. Like, both Giratina and Giratina Origin for me. It's unfortunate because, like, it has some stuff going for it. It has really, really good natural bulk. However, the typing isn't amazing. And yeah, like, it doesn't have good offenses. So, like, in restricted formats, Dratnia is almost never used in Origin for me or regular for me, just because, yeah, like, there's so many better options. To be clear, in a restricted format, you only get 2 restricted Pokemon. So it's not like you can run Groudon, Kyogre, Xerneas, and Giratina. You only get 2 on your team, and so the opportunity cost of using something like Dratnia is very, very high. And of course, people have tried to use it before, but not with pretty much any success in the 3 formats it was legal. Maybe in 2010. I don't actually know about 2010, but yeah. Next up, we have Groudon. I think Groudon's an S tier Pokemon, specifically Primal Groudon. The ability is amazing. The attack is amazing. It's so powerful. It's a restricted Pokemon, to be sure. Primordial Sun is ridiculous. It basically eliminates its primary weakness, which is a 4-times weakness to water, if you play it cleverly. Because the way the ability works is that, for those of you who don't know, when Groudon is on the field, the condition of Primordial Sun is active. And while Sun is up, it activates like regular Sun, so you get Fire type boost. However, instead of water types just being weakened, you can't use them. They'll evaporate, and your Pokemon will do no damage if you try to use a water type move. And so, Groudon's only weaknesses being water and ground. You're basically playing with only a ground type weakness on a Pokemon that's already ridiculous. It can be fast and special. It can be slow and bulky and physical, or mixed. It can run Swords Dance. It can run Substitute. It's so powerful. I hope you can't Dynamax this thing, because we're gonna have problems if you can. Oh my god, if you can raise your special defense with Max Quake, that'd be very bad for us. Next up, we have Heatran. I like Heatran a lot. Heatran was very good in 2015. Has fallen off a little bit since then, I would say. Was used a bit in 2018 as well. It's a good Pokemon. Heatran and Cresselia are a kind of favorite duo of mine. Got me to second place at the World Championships using Skill Swap Cresselia with Heatran. Very, very, very good Pokemon. Just like a bulky Steel type. Has, like, the Fire typing is nice as well. With Flash Fire, making you immune to Fire type moves, it's overall pretty solid. The 4-times weakness to ground is not ideal. However, people ran Shuka Berry back in the day. Heatran's won at least 1 World Championships and come close to a second one. Yeah, I can't remember that much about 2018, which is the other format Heatran was legal if it was used very much, but I still believe in Heatran. I think it's a good Pokemon. I think it's definitely better than Pokemon like Dialga and Entei, for sure. So, yeah, I think A tier's, like, pretty fair. It's got a good overall bulk, but it also has good offenses. And Steel is just a great typing. It's like a solid, bulky offense Pokemon. Next up, we have Ho-Oh. So Ho-Oh saw some use in 2019 in the first and second parts before Megas were legal, and then before Megas and Z-moves were legal. Maybe actually only the first part where no Mega and Z-moves are legal. But basically, it's a bulky Pokemon. It's the other Sacred Fire. Oh no, my throat hurts and I left my water somewhere. Dang it. So it's the other Sacred Fire user, like Entei. We already talked about why Entei is good. Ho is very, very bulky. And although it's similar to Articuno, it shares a 4-times weakness to Rock. It has Regenerator. It has Roost if it wants it. It can set Tailwind. It's got good offenses it's got good stats across the board. Like, honestly, really good stats. Brave Bird and Sacred Fire are great offensive moves. Brave Bird doesn't work against Steel types, and Sacred Fire is very good against them. You can't hit Rock types at all, but at least you can maybe burn them, and you don't really want Ho to deal with Rock types anyway, so, yeah. So I don't think it's that big a deal. The weaknesses aren't great, but the bulk makes up. Ho, unlike Articuno, to me, is a Pokemon where, like, it can kind of compensate with the bulk, whereas Articuno's bulk doesn't do enough. Because although the weaknesses to Electric, Water, and Rock are overall pretty bad, the Rock aside, with Water and Electric being mostly special moves, and Ho being primarily a specially bulky Pokemon, yeah, I think I could definitely make do. It's not great by any means, but I think it's solid. Kyogre. Kyogre is either an S tier or an A tier Pokemon. I'm going to put it in the S tier. I feel like Groudon, Kyogre, and spoilers, Xerneas are probably, like, They're always the ones that dominate restricted formats, although that was less true in 2019. However, they still dominated, there's no question. Kyogre is the other equivalent to Groudon. It's one of the best Groudon answers if you can fire off a water-type move. Primordial Sea works like Desolate Land, which turns off... Primordial Sea turns off fire moves, which isn't used defensively at all. However, it can be used to protect the partners. When I won Nationals last year, I used Kyogre to protect Celesteela from fire-type moves that would be problematic for it, and then used Celesteela to protect Kyogre as well. But yeah, so it's overall, it's a very, very, very strong Pokemon. Unlike Groudon, who uses its weather defensively, Kyogre primarily uses its weather offensively, boosting super-powered water spouts. Really, really good stats on Kyogre. The defense isn't perfect, but the HP, special attack, and special defense are all incredible. HP is okay, but the special attack and special defense are incredible. And when you consider that it has Water Spout, which is the strongest water type move in the game, up there with, well, yeah, in terms of just damage output, it's the strongest water type move in the game. Boosted by rain, boosted by the special attack. It's insane. Yeah, it does crazy amounts of damage. And although Origin Pulse is inconsistent because it misses, still a very good Pokemon for sure. Next up, we have Kyurem. I'm gonna put base Kyurem in E tier with Cosmo M. Although it's definitely better than Cosmo M. Like, you'd pretty much never... it's probably D tier, honestly. Kyurem is not a restricted Pokemon. Kyogre is a restricted Pokemon. Ho is a restricted Pokemon, just to be clear. So it's 1, 2... Restricted Pokemon right now are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Kyurem's pretty bad. You would almost never use Kyurem over... at least in his base for me. Honestly, it's an E tier Pokemon, in my opinion. Like, yeah, because you'd be giving up a restricted slot for Kyurem. And I don't know why you do that. Like, at least with these Pokemon, like... Giratina's not good, but it's not that bad either. But with Kyurem, like... You could have Groudon, you could have Kyogre, you could have Xerneas, you could have Yveltal, Dialga, even Giratina, but you chose Kyurem? No. No, absolutely not. No. No. Yeah, Kyurem's very bad. Like, technically it has some stuff going for it, but it's just very bad. Not fast enough, not strong enough, not bulky enough. The typing's great for hitting dragon types, but you also get hit by dragon types in return. Weak to fairy, weak to steel, weak to fighting, weak to rock. Not good. Not good at all. Kyurem Black, actually, well, let's do Kyurem White first, because that's easier. So Kyurem White is also Ice and Dragon. Typing is still bad, however, the stats are much better. And it also gets Fire-type coverage, which is very good. I'm going to put Kyurem White in the C tier, I think. Like, it's sometimes used, it's been used before on, like, Blizzard spam teams, where you just click Blizzard a bunch and hope that, you know, you do damage. It's not terrible. The Fire coverage is good on it because it makes up for... the fact that Ice and Dragon don't hit Steel types. However, you don't get Stab on that coverage, so it's not amazing by any means. Not a good Pokemon at all, but not a terrible one either. Kyurem Black is interesting, so normally I'd put it in the D tier with Kyurem White. However, it got Ice Punch this generation, and with Ice Punch and that strong electric move, Bolt... Wait, what's it called? Blue Flare and Bolt Crash? I don't remember what it's called, but I think it actually might be a C tier Pokemon, truthfully. With Ice Punch, Electric coverage, and Dragon coverage, you do, like, some interesting stuff, I think. Yeah, I think it's pretty hard to switch into. I think I get some other decent coverage moves as well. Kyurem White is a special attacker, whereas Kyurem Black is a physical attacker. It feels weird to put it in C tier, because this is more speculative, because it depends on how good it is now that it gets Ice Punch, because it didn't get a physical Ice-type move before, which is why it was D tier. You know what? Kyurem White should be in here, too. Yeah, we'll put both the Kyurems in this tier. Now that I think about it. Yeah, they're not good, but you can do some stuff with them. So, yeah. Next up, we have Landorus. I know I used Landorus Incarnate in this picture, but Landorus Therian form is what we're actually talking about here. S tier Pokemon. Intimidate, U-turn, crazy stats, lots of good items on it. Can go physical or special, though I don't think you run special as much now that you don't have Hidden Power Ice anymore. I used Special Landorus a bit myself in 2018, won a regional with it. So, overall, great Pokemon. Like, I don't know that much to say, to be honest. Okay, I gotta move faster, because we are 20 minutes in, and I have many left. Latios. I think Latios is actually a B tier Pokemon. The reason being is that it actually got second at the World Championships. It's kind of, to me, like a faster, less bulky Cresselia. You can do some interesting support options with it. Like, it has great support moves. However, yeah, the bulk is lacking. It's not lacking, but it's nowhere near Cresselia. But the speed is nice. I actually think Latios in a current format would be okay. Like, not bad at all, because you could Icy Wind. You can Icy Wind and then get immediate speed control, and thanks to the fast base speed, that's actually pretty good. You can also do, like, Reflect, Light Screen, it gets roleplay, lots of good support moves, overall solid Pokemon. And then kind of a weird reversal of the past, Latios is probably a C or a D tier, hang on. sorry. And a kind of a weird reversal in the past, where in 2012, Latios was a very big Pokemon in the metagame. Dragon Gem boosted Draco Meteor was very, very difficult to deal with, because it just did so much with damage. I actually think Latios is a D-tier Pokemon now. I'm sorry, Latios. Is that fair? No, it's at least as good as Azelf. It's at least as good as Azelf, and I think Azelf is C-tier. Yeah, it's definitely better than Cavalion. But yeah, Latios used to be this very fast, very offensive glass cannon, but with the addition of fairy types and the removal of Dragon Gem, it's fallen off pretty hard. Next up, we have Lugia. This is another restricted Pokemon. These next two are restricted Pokemon. Lugia is interesting. It saw some success in 2019, but it was mostly on gimmicky teams. It was mostly with Z Tailwind. I think Lugia is probably... I honestly think Lugia is a D-tier mon without Z Tailwind. Like, the thing is, it's got great bulk and a good ability in multi-scale, but it's so weak. Like, it doesn't do any damage. Its signature move, Aeroblast, like, it has higher crit rate, but it's still, like, yeah, just not good enough at all, in my opinion. So, yeah, really good bulk, decent support Pokemon, but when you consider you could have, like, Groudon or Kyogre, or you could have Lugia, I'd probably put Lugia in the D-tier. Next up is Lunala. Lunala is an A-tier Pokemon. This is another restricted Pokemon, like I mentioned. Lunala won the World Championships along with Groudon. That was the restricted duo that won last year. Despite Incineroar being super prevalent, like, Incineroar, I think, really ruined Lunala from taking off, like, in ways that were ridiculous. But Lunala's ability is just like Lugia's. It's basically multi-scale. It takes half damage if it's at full HP. And yeah, it's like, I would say, like, maybe people, because Lunala primarily used to run its Z move, Menacing Moonraze Maelstrom. However, the Lunala that won the World Championships was actually, I think, the Dark-type berry. Maybe it was the Ghost-type berry. I don't remember. I think, no, it was the Dark-type berry, I think, Colbur. So, yeah, a very bulky Pokemon. It can run... It has, like, both forms of Speed Control and Tailwind and Trick Room. Decent offenses, very good offenses. The coverage is okay. Like, Incineroar is a problem for it because it's Ghost and Psychic type. However, I mean, it still won the World Championships in the format where Incineroar is the most dominant Pokemon out of any Pokemon maybe I've ever seen. So, yeah, I mean, it's a great Pokemon, and you could maybe argue it's S tier, but I'm going to put it in A tier, because it doesn't have the same incredible offenses as these two. Mesprit is an E tier Pokemon, I think. I don't know why you'd use Mesprit. Yeah, like, there's so many better bulky Psychic types even on this list. Mesprit doesn't do anything. Like, it's just not good. Next up is Mewtwo. Now, Mewtwo is one of my favorite Pokemon, personally. Oh, there's two Mewtwo's on this list. Oops. Okay, well... Oh, there's two Cosmo. Wait, hang on a second. How many of these are doubled? Just those two? I think just those two. Maybe there's another one that's doubled. I don't know. Mewtwo is interesting for me, at least. Without its Mega Evolution, it's not as good. But now that we have Dynamax, maybe it's stronger. I'm going to put it in the D tier for now. Maybe it's higher. But, like, yeah, with Mega Evolution, it was okay. Like, maybe you could argue making Mewtwo X and Y. Maybe one of them would have been C tier. However, I don't think that in this, without its Mega Evolution, it's strong enough. I mean, Psystrike is a very strong move. I lost to a Mewtwo at Nationals last year. It was, what even happened? It was just Psychic Spam. I guess with Psychic Spam, it could be okay. Yeah, his wasn't Mega. Yeah, you know what, fine, we'll put Mewtwo in the C tier. It's got good offenses and good speed. Really good speed. Although with Dragapult running around, Mewtwo's gonna have a bad time, but that's fine. You could do like Indeedee Mewtwo, actually. Indeedee Mewtwo is actually really, really kind of strong, I think. So someone put a pin in that for when restricted Pokemon come back. Moltres, similar to Articuno, kind of same stuff as Articuno. It gets fire instead of ice. It still has that 4 times weakness to rock and a weakness to electric. It adds a weakness to water, which isn't good. Better offenses at the cost of worse bulk, excuse me. Yeah, not good. Cosmog. I want to be funny and put Cosmog in S tier, but we're going to put it in the E tier. It doesn't, it's the same like Cosmo M, it doesn't do anything. I just messed with the order so bad. It just doesn't do anything. I don't have anything to say about it. Necrozma Duskmane. So the thing is that Mega Evolution was removed. Oh, Z Crystal was removed too. This would have been a B or an A tier mon because it was Ultra Burst, but now I don't know, because now you can't Ultra Burst just because there's no Z Crystal. So without Ultra Necrozma being around, Ultra Necrozma not on this list. Right, I made it myself. I should know that. It's still a decent Pokemon, but Ultra Bursting is kind of important. As a restricted Pokemon, it's probably a D tier. Probably both of them without the ability to Ultra Burst. I think they're both D tier. Basically, oh sorry, Mewtwo and the Necrozmas are both restricted Pokemon, as is Nebby. Nebby would be kind of funny if it wasn't restricted Pokemon, but yeah, it's a restricted Pokemon. Regular Necrozma is probably the E tier as well. Yeah, you would never use regular Necrozma, I think. Like, even Cresselia you're better off with. Although the ability, like, reduces super effective damage. right? Isn't that what the ability does? Yeah. Yeah, pretty bad in my opinion. Palkia is interesting. I think Palkia is probably... So Palkia is also a restricted Pokemon, which hurts it. Because, yeah, there's better ones around for sure. I think Palkia is probably... I brought Palkia to Regional, so I have some faith in it. However, it didn't do that well. Palkia never really had any success. I think it's probably about as good as Mewtwo. Good bulk. One of the weaknesses of Palkia is that it doesn't learn Scald for some reason. Emboar learns Scald, but Palkia does not, so it has to rely on a Hydro Pump. With Dynamax, like, you can offset the fact that Hydro Pump sucks and always misses. However, and you can set up Rain for yourself. But yeah, talking about legendary Pokemon with Dynamax is just kind of, I don't think I should do that too much because it just gets too crazy. Sorry, specifically restricted Pokemon. It becomes too crazy, and yeah, I don't, like, there's so much stuff you could do. You have, like, Dynamax Lunala and Dynamax Mewtwo and Dynamax Kyogre. Oh my god, yeah. So, Palkia is fine. I have nothing against Palkia. I like it as a Pokemon, but it's just not great. Raikou is interesting. I think it's also a C tier Pokemon. It's seen some use over the years. It's a very fast electric type Pokemon. Tapu Koko kind of invalidates its reason for being used, though, which is kind of a problem. Also, they took away Hidden Power Ice, which is a very important coverage move for most electric type, so, yeah. This next one hurts me, but I think I had to put Rayquaza in the D tier. It's a restricted Pokemon. The reason that it's this far down is that it loses Mega Evolution now, and without its Mega Evolution, like, with Mega Evolution, it's an A tier, in my opinion. Or an S tier, maybe. Without Mega Evolution, I don't think you would run it. Ever. Dragon, like, you need the ability to overwrite. You need Delta Stream, in my opinion, to be good. And although, like, you know, Cloud9 is okay. And I say this, you know, I love Rayquaza. I won both, the 2 times I brought Rayquaza, no, that's not true. The 2 times I brought Kyogre, I won the tournament. But I won the World Championships and the National Championships last year in the US with Rayquaza. And so it's one of my favorite Pokemon. It's almost never let me down, with some exceptions. But yeah, as someone who's used Rayquaza a lot, like, the base form is not strong enough at all. Like, yeah, it's very much not strong enough. It's not even close. These next ones hurt me a lot. These are not restricted. The Regis, Reggie Ice goes into E tier. It's not good. Regigigas goes into D tier. I got second at a regional with him. Very bulky. You can do some interesting stuff with it as well. Regirock goes into E tier. Bulky. These two, they're bulky and don't have the offense, and they're only bulky on one side of the spectrum, which is good in singles, but not good in doubles. Regigigas gets a higher tier because he's very bulky. You could, in theory, do some stuff where you overwrite his ability to make him powerful, and you can now pair him with Weezing as well to make him actually very powerful. Dynamax Weezing, or Dynamax Regigigas plus, sorry, Regigigas plus Weezing for very, very much power. And he only has one weakness as well. And Registeel, I brought Registeel to the World Championships, finished top 32, 25th to be specific. I like Registeel, I'm putting it in the G tier. Registeel, unlike the other Regis, has less weaknesses, better typing, and that's it. And better bulk overall. The bulk is better spread. So yeah, it can be an annoying support Pokemon for sure. Reshiram is okay. It's not terrible. I put it in the D tier. You could do some stuff with it in theory, though it's not very good. It's a restricted Pokemon, to be clear. So yeah, that definitely hurts it. There is a second Palkia. So technically Savali is actually a legendary Pokemon. This is not a restricted Pokemon. I didn't know he was a legendary, but I looked up which Pokemon were legendary, so I didn't make that many mistakes, and it was on the list. I think Savali's fine. Probably a C tier Pokemon. I noticed this list is very bottom heavy. Come on. Why is this, guys, are you seeing this? Am I an idiot? Okay. Savali, the main gimmick you do with it is you change its types, which is kind of ironic because most people who run Savali actually just run like Life Orb or Choice Band or Choice Scarf or something. Mostly Life Orb. Savali saw some use already in 2020. Not a terrible Pokemon by any means, but definitely not great. Solgaleo, B tier. Steel Psychic, it was, I guess, you know, introduced to maybe help counter Xerneas. It didn't really do that. I think it won Japan Nationals with Solgaleo Rayquaza, though. Good bulk, great ability because you can't intimidate it. One of the best steel type moves in the game. It's a high power steel type move that doesn't miss. Yeah, definitely at least a B tier mon. You could maybe argue A tier. It gets Tricker. Does it get Trick Room? It does. It gets Trick. Wait, does it get Trick Room? I've forgotten. I don't know. Yeah. Suicune, good Pokemon. B or A tier. I have to decide. Great bulk, bulky water, gets Tailwind, gets speed control. I'm gonna put Suicune in the A tier. I think it's a solid Pokemon. Not a restricted Pokemon, by any means. Yeah. Overall, great bulk. It's mostly there to be a support Pokemon. Like, it launches Scalds and Icy Winds and Tailwinds. Basically controls the pace of the game for a little bit. Doesn't put on a ton of offensive pressure, but the support options are really nice. Taboo, one of my other personal favorite Pokemon. We're gonna have to be objective here and put it in the B tier. Objective being what other people think, like, or like what, you know, most people would agree on. Basically, Tapu Bulu is, most people probably feel is the worst of the 4 Tapus. I don't agree, but, yeah. Basically, the thing about Tapu Bulu is that it hits really hard with Wood Hammer and Horn Leech. Being physical hurts it a good bit. The other 3 Tapus all run special, and so Intimidate hurts Tapu Bulu pretty much like alone out of the 4 Tapu. And although Grassy Terrain is good, the effects of the other ones are probably better for most people. Electric Terrain turns off sleep and boosts electric attacks. Misty Terrain blocks status, so it's a great supportive comp. Psychic Terrain powers up psychic moves. And blocks priority attacks, so it's good for hyper offense teams. And Grassy Terrain powers up grass type moves, which is pretty much exclusive for Tapu Bulu. If you're going to run them on a team, like sometimes people run a Tapu Bulu with another grass type, but it's rare. And it heals and it weakens like Earthquake and stuff. But, you know, now that we have max moves, or even without that, like everything got high horsepower now, so the Earthquake buff doesn't even, or like weakness doesn't even hurt. Next up we have Tapu Fini. I think Tapu Fini is probably S tier. It's like one of the best support Pokemon. It was used like, it's won the World Championships twice in 2017 and 2019. Yeah, it's very, very good. It's just like a great support Pokemon. It was used in all 3 of the formats it was legal. Like winning 2 out of the 3 World Championships you're legal for is kind of ridiculous. And yeah, it's just an overall great support Pokemon that really helps control variance because it stops all kinds of status. Tapu Koko I feel similarly about. It's also won 2 of the 3 World Championships. These are both in the 3 years. These each won 2 World Championships because in 2017 they were both on the team. Koko wins in 18 and Fini wins in 19. Koko is great, very fast. With the Z move, it was extremely powerful. It's really hard to pin down. The fast base speed plus Volt Switch makes it like so difficult to actually land a hit on if it doesn't want to get hit. And the ability to pivot is really good. The ability to turn off sleep is good. Hits really hard with Life Orb, which was used in 2017 and onward. Or Z-Move, or pretty much whatever you want to do. It can be supportive as well. Assault Vest Koko with Electro Web was good, and will be even better now that we have the speed changes. You can also run, like, well, you can't run Skydrop anymore, but Nature's Madness. Ashton actually top cut Nationals with Tapunium Z, which is no longer legal, but yeah. Tapu Lele is an A-tier mon for me. I mean, I would probably, personally, I like Bulu more than I like Lele. Like, I'd switch these 2 personally. However, in general, most people would probably agree that Lele is better. Lele can be Choice Scarf, or used to run Z-Move, or it can be Bulky, or Specs. Bulky Specs won a pretty big tournament in 2017. Z-Move was used, Scarf was used, Specs was used. It's got great items. It's just a very offensive Pokemon that you can't fake out because of its ability. And with Psychic Terrain boosting its ability, like boosting its special attack even more, on top of having the highest special attack out of all the Tapus, it does insane damage. They did nerf terrains offensively a bit, so like, these 3 got weakened, because now instead of being 1.5 times boost, it's only 1.3, which is significant, but I think that's probably good. I still think Lele is an A-tier mon. Next up, we have Terrakion. Terrakion's been used since its induction in VGC in 2011. Primarily used with Beat Up, but can be used its initial gimmick, I would say, is Beat Up, but it can be used in other ways as well. It was used with Choice Scarf at first. Now it runs, normally not Choice Scarf. It can run Sash. It can run other things as well. Great Pokemon, good offensive types. Rock doesn't hit Steel types, which Fighting does hit. Fast, powerful, works with Beat Up, works with Life Orb, has lots of things going for it. Good Pokemon. Okay, Thunderous, unfortunately, has fallen off quite a bit. Thunderous has seen almost no, like, this is going to hurt me. Thunderous used to be an S-tier mon. It was one of the best in the format years ago. Pretty much since 2018, in 2018, 2019, it saw almost no usage at all. The Tapus, all 3 of the Tapus, like, it can't Thunder Wave, these 3 at all. And it can only, like, it can't Thunder Wave in Misty Terrain either. I can't believe I'm saying this. I think Thunderous is a C-tier Pokemon now. That's insane. I can't believe that, but I think it's true, honestly. Like, it got, like, no CP in 2018 or 2019. Like, people just didn't use it, and, I mean, it makes sense. Like, it was broken because of Thunderwave and Swagger, and they nerfed Thunderwave, Swagger, and Prankster. So, it can't Thunderwave Dark types, it can't Thunderwave Electric types anymore, but neither of those used to be true. So now there's 3 typings immune to Thunderwave. It can't, Swagger's not good anymore. Yeah, like Thunderwave can miss now. It's just lost a lot, unfortunately. I'm sorry, Thunderous. Tornadus is probably also a C tier. I would say, though, I'm going to say if it had Defiant, if Defiant was legal, I'd put it in the A tier. I think Defiant Tornadus is really good. But for now, I put it in the C tier. It gets Prankster Tailwind to support Prankster Pokemon. Actually, you know what? It's probably a B tier. It was used a little bit in 2019. Yeah, it was used a little bit in 2019, in my opinion. Or, no, just as a fact. Like, I had to play against it at Nationals. It did actually pretty well. There was a Kangaskhan Tornadus, Incineroar, or Groudon, Kommo-o, 2 other Pokemon, Incineroar, the Mungus, I think. No, there's a Xerneas there. I don't know. It was used a bit. It was also used with Kyogre teams, in Sun and Moon series. So yeah, Prankster Tailwind is good in restricted formats. Wait, did I miss any restricted Pokemon? No. Yeah, we're not talking about restricted Pokemon right now. Type Null, very bad. It's technically a legendary Pokemon. Uxie, also pretty bad. It's better than Mesprit, I guess, but not good. Like bulky Psychic type, but there's so many things to do the job better. I think it gets Dion. That's like the main advantage. Virizion, better than Cobalion, worse than Terrakion. We're putting it in the C tier. Good special bulk, bad offenses, good speed. Yeah, 4 times weakness to flying. It's a really cool Pokemon. I always wanted to use it. It was never good. One of my least favorite Pokemon of all time, Xerneas, top of the S tiers. Despite never winning the World Championships, it's so broken. The 2 formats it was legal, it just completely dominates, and the whole format is forced to revolve around it, and it totally invalidates some other Pokemon like Yveltal, who's a B tier Pokemon in my opinion. Yveltal and Xerneas are both restricted Pokemon, so yeah, I actually got top 4 at Nationals last year with Yveltal. Yveltal has done like somewhat well before. It won at least one National in the years it's been legal. It would be great if it weren't for Xerneas, but with Xerneas around, it's not so great in my opinion. It's still good. I did use it last year. I thought it was a good call. It is really bulky. Its ability powers up its Dark type moves, and so like you can run a bunch of different stuff on it. You can like Snarl, Foul Play, and Sucker Punch. You can run triple Dark Attack. People have run it with Assault Vest. People have run it with like Bulk. It won a regional last year as well. Or yeah, I'm pretty sure. Didn't Gavin win a regional with it? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Zacian. I think Zacian's probably going to be S tier. Good stats and the ability boosts its attack right away. But we're not sure. We've never seen it in play yet, so yeah, I'm not sure. Good typing as well. Steel Fairy, right? Zamazenta, I have no idea. Steel Fighting. I have a feeling it'd probably be like a C tier mon, or maybe a D tier mon, or a B tier mon, but I don't know, truthfully. Zapdos, great bulky electric type with good support. Can be offensive or defensive, traditionally defensive. I think that's an A tier mon. Does a lot of things really well. Static is not legal, but Thunderbolt, Roost, Tailwind, Hidden Power Ice. Losing Hidden Power Ice hurts. You can run screens as well. But yeah, overall, great Pokemon. Great bulky electric without... Like, most electrics are weak to ground, so the fact that it's not is very helpful. And it also isn't weak to electric either. Zekrom. I forgot we hadn't done Zekrom yet. Ashton used Zekrom a little bit last year, but didn't do very well with it, as far as I know. I'm going to put it in the D tier. I think it's worse than Reshiram. Yeah, not super strong in my opinion. It's like, it's got good bulk, but it's a restricted Pokemon, similar to some of the other ones we were talking about. And so if you look at anything up, well, any of like Groudon, Kyogre, Xerneas, like I said, using Zekrom is kind of questionable in my opinion. Zygarde, I think, is okay. I used Zygarde in a regional last year. With Zygarde complete, like getting the ability, it can be okay. Zygarde suffers from lack of damage output. The way people used to run Zygarde is they'd run it with Misty Seed and Coil. So you just like make yourself super bulky and then transform into Zygarde complete. Get insane bulk. Maybe use Heal Pulse as well. Heal Pulse, like if you Heal Pulse Zygarde complete for me, it's just insane to take down. You could also use Aura Break to try and weaken Xerneas. But yeah, the real thing about Zygarde is though, although it gets some really great ground type moves, some of the best ground type moves in the game, yeah, like, yeah, it's like, it doesn't do enough damage. Its offenses are ridiculously low, and yeah, so it's good at like being annoying and not going down, but it's bad at doing damage, which is why people paired it with Coil. They would also pair it with Tapu Fini the Swagger to try and offset that, so you would be like Misty Seed Zygarde with Swagger Tapu Fini. Not a terrible Pokemon, like you have some reason to run it, and if you get it set up, it can be good, but it's just not great. This is our second Moltres. Hang on, we're in duplicate area. We've already done this, we've already done this, we've already done this, we've already done this, we've already done this. Wait a second. Is that everybody? Did I finish? Oh, maybe I did, because that was Zygarde. He's the last Pokemon. Okay, so I guess it just doubled up for some reason. I was having a lot of trouble making this tier list, so I think we know why. Alright, I think that's why this happened. Anyway, wow, okay, I thought I had a bunch left, but we're done, actually. So, I'll zoom out a little so we can see it all at once. This is the final list. This is how I rank every legendary Pokemon. So, obviously it was a hard task. I was comparing across formats, and I was comparing some Pokemon that have never been legal. But yeah, I think that's probably, I feel pretty good about this overall. You can see it's more go towards the bottom than the top. However, I think that's fair. Like, you just expect more Pokemon to be bad than good. So yeah, I think that's it. Let me know if you enjoyed this video and what you want me to rank next. I think we're going to do a bunch of tier lists this week because I'm in a tier list mood. But yeah, I think that's it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Oh, I paused the music when I meant to turn off the video. Goodbye for real.